In this session we're going to be using the Colner Instacol system for laying down gold on the halo, and then we will put in background. The Instacol system is a German system which is proving very successful indoors and outdoors, and it simulates a very glossy finish. So we'll see how we go. The first task is to find the exact center of the halo, and for this I find the easiest method is to get a piece of paper and put that side there, and then mark just with a fold the edge there, and then fold this across here, and that will be the halfway point there. And then I'm going to be using a pair of compasses and dividers with a spike on it, and I don't want to make a mark on my in my gesso. So what I've used here is cut off a bit of a name tag which has several thicknesses of perspex of plastic, and I've put a hole in the top layer. So if I lay this so that that hole is directly over that point and tape it firmly in place, I will keep the center of my halo. And if I measure the 3/4 of a head and just see how this works. Now what I'm looking for, I don't want it to go right up to the border, and I want it to line up pretty much with the Adam's apple, so that should look okay. But now I want to just check that those distances are all right. That distance there to there to there, and from there to there. Okay, I'm okay with that. I don't want it to go higher than that. So now what I want to do is to score this line, to make it, to actually cut it into the gesso. And I do that with this dividers with a okay, happy with that. But now I'm going to go around the outside of the hair and score that as well. So in other words, the gilded area is going to be surrounded by a scoring in the gesso. Every blemish under the gilding will show. So this does not want to have any missteps, because a misstep in the wrong direction will show, and that would be very sad. But I think we've managed okay. Now here we have 100 mils of Kolner Instacol system base, but it has been provided by the Goldleaf factory in Melbourne. And first of all, the recommendation by the Kolner people is that it is thoroughly stirred. The other thing that they recommend is that you check it that it runs well. Is it nice and runny? And I think that is. Let's clean this off. It is gluggy stuff, so I don't want to leave it on anything at all. And we're going to use this brush. It is a synthetic hair brush, but very fine, and it has enough stiffness. It's a square brush, and we're going to start applying this onto, and I want to keep it within those score marks. Now I'm speeding this up to 4 times normal speed so that you don't get bored to sobs. We just keep adding the base. It's wet on wet, and we add and add and add. Let me say that this process is not easy. If this is your first go at using the Kolner Instacol system, do not beat yourself up if it's not perfect in the end. I'm still trying to get this to work really well, and I find it quite difficult, but the shiny finish is quite spectacular. Just getting it perfect is the issue. It might seem a bit strange to be doing this process so early in the icon learning stage, and the reason is that gilding can be quite a problem when it's being applied with other paint on the panel. And if the paint isn't absolutely dry, like, you know, a couple of days, it's very likely that the gold leaf will attach to your painted area, and you've got to clean it up and repaint and stuff like that. So if the gilding is done first, then you can paint over the gold bits rather than have to clean the gold bits off later on. We're going to have to do some clean up anyway, but that's why we're doing the gilding so early in the piece. I think enough is enough. And what I'm going to do is to prop that so that it's not a flat surface, so it has a better chance to flow. And I'm going to immediately take this brush away and give it a thorough clean in hot water, because this stuff is as gluggy as anything and it will not be nice for the next user. Now, off camera, I've been trying to tidy up the bits around the edge. I just wasn't able to keep things within the score lines, but the scoring lines were really important for keeping everything honest. What I found best for clearing things away was to use this craft knife, just cut around the edge and then scoop the excess away. So we'll see how that goes. But the next step is to apply the stage 2 of the Kolner Instacol system, and that is to apply the Kolner activator. And to do this, it's much simpler than that first bit. We take some paper towel and we fold it up into a pad and put some on. Just make sure, it just needs to be wet. It's just damp, and we're just going to apply this to the surface. Now this has gone really dry. This is quite some time. This is a couple of hours after I applied it, so it's very dry, and we just make sure the whole lot is covered with this damp activator, and then we leave it to dry completely. So I'll be back later, probably about half an hour. The activator is good for an hour. After that, you probably need to add more activator. So, you know, it will be really dry before we do the next bit. Now it's time to apply the gold leaf, and this is what's called hard press gold leaf, 23 karat gold, and comes in packs of 25, and we don't touch the gold at all, but I'll do this about a third, cut about a third of it. Oh, it's a fairly heavy third, never mind. And for this I need to hang on to a cotton bud, and I want to put this down and get it all in one hit. And I'm going to press this very hard. And I'm going to check underneath to see if it's going down all right. Not too bad, a few bits need to... Okay, number one, and next. Where there's repair, it had sort of split away a bit, I could see underneath. So I'm just putting that back to give that an extra bit of gold. And there's a section through here that needs to go in. Now we might just put that on there. And then these scissors need to be really sharp. and then a thin strip to get across there. That'll be okay. Sometimes better to sort of do a screwing action rather than a wiping one. How's that going on? Just looking over the whole lot to see if there are any bits that are missed at all. Maybe just there. That's a pretty good coverage. General wipe away excess. And there's a reveals a bit that needs to be repaired. It's a bit stubborn. Now, with a clean cotton bud, hang on, before we do anything, there's another little bit that needs to be it's not going to take. Now with a circular motion we're going to polish. You can see another little bit that needs fixing. Okay. Now let's do some good honest painting. Let's do the background. So get all that in place, and this is a good chance to have a good go with honest paint, and we're going to measure out some unbleached titanium, one of the most useful pigments in the palette, and add egg tempera and grind it up. Clean the pestle. And find a soft brush, a squirrel. Let's go for a 4 squirrel, and we wet it first and then wiping it off, because we're going to start by getting all this around the edge of the halo, and sort of cutting in. I turn my panel around so that when I am doing a cutting in finally, that my brush is on the right side. If I was left-handed, I guess I'd do it the other way around. One of the things that is going right at the moment is that the paint is not pooling on the bits of gold. Sometimes it does, and later on when we're doing inscriptions on and painting on top of the gold, we might have to find ways of breaking the surface tension, but we'll come to that when the problem arises. Now, while I'm upside down, I'll also cut in over here. We can see how this natural hair brush, when you press on it, can go quite wide, and then when you let go, it can go to a point. Very fine. while I'm on this, got it round this way, I'll put another coat around here. We can find that doing a straight line, a couple of tricks to this, and one of them is find the direction that you're best at doing it. And I find I can do down, I can't do up. I can do from left to right, but not right to left. Now for the outside frame, let's decant some of this into a separate bowl. In fact, I want to put quite a bit of it in here. And I want to add to this some ultramarine blue. And because this is blue and the unbleached titanium is yellow, this will give us, and I'm just dipping the wet brush gently into the blue, and because blue and yellow make green, this is going to darken up into a nice olive green. So let's see how that goes. Well, there we have it then, end of session 2, and we've gilded our halo and we've painted in the background. In terms of surface area, we've probably done most of the icon, but in our next session, we will paint in the garments.